Have you noticed that even though we are more connected than ever, you still actually feel disconnected, overwhelmed, distracted, and mentally exhausted? Then this show's for you. Between AI, notifications, email inbox overflow, and constant information coming at us from every direction, it can feel harder and harder to maintain human connection. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Nurturing Astrology podcast. I'm so glad you're here, and thanks for tuning in. Let's dive into today's show. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Nurturing Astrology podcast. I'm Dominique, your astrologer and host, and today I am back with my wonderful friend, educator, astrologer, Melody Winery. Hi, Melody. Welcome back.
Hi, everybody. Glad to be here.
Yeah, we're going to jump into to a good topic today. We used to do, or we have done, many thought starters along the astrology and education theme, and we'll be doing more with the coalition. But today, we think this one's going to kind of span even beyond that. So this is for definitely astrology and education, but also we think more broadly this can serve a lot of people. It's a great talk, I think, very timely and relevant for where we are. And that is Uranus and Gemini, which we will be experiencing for quite some time. So it's the broad umbrella here. But more importantly, we're moving into Mercury and Gemini here very soon. And
Yes.
we want to talk about what that means in terms of tech and connection, right? So
Absolutely.
obviously Mercury rules that, our connection, communication, technology, all those things. And we're feeling, I know about you, but feeling already, right? It seemed like right when Uranus went in, it was like poof, intensity,
hmm
and so much happening at once. The overload and the busyness and the trying not to spiral and the trying to keep up seemed instant, right?
Yes, absolutely. I don't know
So,
about you, but I've had full email inboxes for years now, but I've had three conversations with close friends in the last few days about the email inboxes just being impossible to keep up with. So I think there's been a shift, um, maybe in automation, maybe in electronics, maybe in the
yeah.
the business communication world, that suddenly we can automate these things. It feels like
Hmm.
um, my inbox just can't even be controlled anymore. It's out of control. Yeah.
Absolutely. I had this thought this morning too, and I was having my coffee before we jumped on, and it was like I keep getting the notice on Google that my,
Yes.
storage is almost full. And I was like, there's a symbolism here too. Like we are
Yes.
all at max storage or already maxed out, and they're asking us instead of like cleaning up, it's either that or buy more space.
Buy
And if
more
you're buying
space.
more space, you're like, oh my God, I don't have space. I don't have bandwidth.
hmm
How many times do we say I don't have the bandwidth for that?
Right. Right. Buy more space, and suddenly it's connecting the virtual space with your financial space and what they want to do and
Yeah.
continue to profit. And I'm not against um, people making profits for a living, but when it's taking advantage of a problem that people haven't adapted to yet or aren't ready for, that's a little problematic for me.
Yeah, and that's a whole nother issue because if you're a business owner and you're marketing online or your business, how do you stay connected like an email list, right?
Yes.
Off of social media when your inbox is full and there's more and more automation coming in, and you
Mhm.
either lose that connection or, because it gets lost in all your spam or all your things, or people just aren't opening emails anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
I've noticed a significant drop in openings, and I'm like, wait a minute. When I mentioned it to Danielle, she's like, me too. And I was like, okay, this is a
Yeah.
thing. Like, this is
Yeah.
definitely a thing. People are like, I don't have the space for it. So I think,
Even
yeah.
Yeah, even the people that I'm super interested in, and there's not a lot. Like I'm getting a lot of things, and I can easily say I don't have time for that. I don't want that. But there are a few that I have been intentionally maintaining connection with, and I'm gonna connection
Hmm.
because they resonate with me, and because I've received so much encouragement from them. But even then, I don't always have the time to open those emails, or I skip to the following one because it just everything's coming at me so fast, it slips downstream. And I think, well, maybe that wasn't for me. Really
Yeah.
approaching the email inbox and really all virtual storage intentionally and with the recognition that as above, so below, and the
Mm.
virtual space is sort of this no man's land in between above and below. We've created this space that's not tactile that has to do with our lives, but it's virtual. And I have found that cleaning up my virtual space with intention has really helped move some things in my life.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. We're going to
Yeah.
actually drop some tips about that too, because
Yes,
we had this conversation the other day. I was like, we need to talk about this. You
we
had some
really do.
great tips, and I
Hmm.
think those will be something that people maybe just hadn't thought of or a good reminder of. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, but first let's talk about the astrology of it, give our little astrology lovers that piece because like I said, Uranus is going to be there for 7 8 years, and we're going to be dealing with this. And I do think we need to intentionally be intentional with our time
Hmm.
and what information we're taking in. There's a lot of people who are turning off notifications or like stepping away from social, but again, how do we stay connected?
Hmm.
In this with this overload with AI and not even sure what you're opening and reading if it's been written by. And I was going to say this too, like AI does have the ability to kind of like find your tone or write things in a way that seem nice and nurturing, but at the same time, if there's even so much of that, it's too much, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm thinking about in terms of human development and our adaptation as humans
Mhm.
to this ability to connect. And we're facing this real, maybe not spoken or well thought out idea of I want to stay connected
Mhm.
to people around the world. And my body and my evolution and my context and my brain has not yet adapted to that. Like
Yeah.
I'm doing my best. There's people around the world I've never met in real life who I really appreciate their message and the things they have to say.
Yeah.
But boy, we're only what early 90s was when the internet started to really blow up, right?
Yeah.
The dot coms and all the things. And h- how many years has it been? We're what, 21, 22, 25 years from
Mhm.
that, depending on what year
Yeah.
you choose. So that's a Saturn transit. That's a
Yep.
square. And we're being challenged. How are
Mhm.
we going to maintain connection? Can we connect with as much as we're connecting with, or do we need to be more mindful?
Yeah, I do think we need to be more mindful.
And with
And
Uranus moving into Gemini, Uranus being the
yeah,
ruler of Aquarius, a very air-related planet, and now it's in Gemini.
yeah,
I think the speed we're seeing is par for the course. That
yeah,
matches an air planet and an air sign signature.
yeah,
And what we want our viewers to know is that with Mercury coming into Gemini
yeah.
soon and meeting up with Uranus, we're going to get little bursts of personal information around that because Mercury is a personal
Yes.
planet.
Yes, and I'm going to give the dates of that too so people have it. So, yeah, so Mercury will enter Gemini May 17th through June 1st,
Mhm.
and then it will enter Cancer and retrograde till the 29th. So we're going to talk about that as well. We'll get into to Mercury and Cancer, but but Uranus moved into Gemini already at the end of April and will be there for the next 7 years, I think, at least.
Yes.
And I think you're right. I think that we are in maybe an adaptation moment.
Hmm.
Like the first few degrees here, it's still 0 degrees, right? We're just, whoa. So there's going to take this adaptation, this time to
Yeah.
adapt mentally, nervous system wise, all of that. So mark your, calendar that right now as we move into Mercury in Gemini and it meets up with Uranus, this might kind of be the perfect conversation and the things to talk about
Oh
right
yeah.
away because it's going to get amplified even more, I think, when Mercury is in Gemini, meets up with it. I think there's the moon moves through, there's like a stellium that happens. So it's going to be a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah. And just a gentle reminder that adaptation is not something that happens super fast.
Right.
It's the first acknowledging that something different is happening, which I think is where we really are right now in the present moment of like, oh, something's changed. I'm still
Hmm.
getting my hands around it. I'm
Yeah.
still grasping it. I'm still trying to understand the full implications of it. Adaptation itself will come as we struggle with it,
Right.
make choices, uh, take on
Yeah.
some of the tips maybe that we've got for you.
Yeah. And that's very true also, to be aware as a collective that we're all experiencing this. So if in your day to day, you're like, oh my gosh, like my emails aren't reaching people, or my business is slowing down, or my videos aren't getting the views they used to, or my whatever, my YouTube, isn't going. To keep chasing that on the hamster wheel and not recognizing, okay, everybody is in this place. Let's be really intentional and selective with what we put out there. Maybe give a little bit more breathing space and time for people to reach it, for it to reach people, or to acknowledge it, instead of, oh, let's try let's try this. And it feels like it speeds up the energy for everyone, because you're going through and you're like, oh my gosh, that looks interesting. That looks interesting. I don't have time. And
And
so
not to
people
mix
could.
the elemental metaphor, but it's kind of like pouring gasoline on a fire.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, that looks so interesting. I would love to be able to listen to that, but I don't have time. And then there's another thing and another thing. And that becomes really, it stresses you out really quick.
Hmm.
And then you feel like, oh, I'm missing something, right? And you're like, oh, but I haven't done this and my business is going to fall behind. And I think then we're all perpetuating it, as opposed
The
to go,
same
okay,
problem.
let's all
Yes.
relax and learn to adapt and support and understand that everybody's going through this, and let everybody, have time. I've stopped sending out my newsletter for a while. I'm like, I'm not going to add to this. I'm going to
Right.
take some time. I'm going to give some space. I'm going to try and be very intentional with what information I put out there, and how I
Yeah.
put it out there, and when I put it out there. And, trust the universe, and it will
Yes.
find, that's why I love timeless content, because it will find you when you're meant, it can serve you, you know?
Yes. Yes. And as someone just starting a business and having heard,
Oh,
you know, in the past few years, what you need to do, what you need to do, and this is what you have to do,
yeah.
and really rebelling against it, like, boy, that doesn't resonate for me. That doesn't seem
Hmm.
right. To be coming up and building a business starting now feels a little bit better in that, okay, we're in a different time period. Something has shifted. I want to be a little more intentional. I do move a little slower. And that's important to me for the nervous system of the people that I do connect with. So
Yes.
it's a profound moment to be aware of the energies.
Yeah, and to know your own energy, and to know your own chart, like knowing your moon, or how your nervous system needs what it needs to regulate,
Yeah. Yeah.
and for you, having that Taurus moon, needing to like settle and take your time. And air
Mhm.
people, it's like, oh yeah, all this information, it's easier to get lost in that spiral. I have to
Yes.
intentionally slow down and step away, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And poor water people just get overwhelmed and saturated, and just,
Blown
depressed, and
around.
yeah,
Yeah.
just swirling.
Yes.
So I think that even understanding your own astrology can be helpful, and understanding, okay, what do I really have the capacity for, and how can I navigate my daily life in a healthy way based on what I
Yes.
know of myself, and not, letting that outside world take over.
Yeah.
So yeah, so just because also we can be reached doesn't mean we should be. Having this
Yes.
idea of like, yeah, I'm available, I'm reachable on social or on email or whatever, but it doesn't mean you have to be available for everyone all the time. I think intentional connection and using tech for positive things like human connection. I mean, we're talking, how
Yes.
to foster human connection in this digital age. And yes, tech has been a beautiful tool for us to be able to have our women's circle, and for us to have these conversations and connect, as friends, when we don't live in the same places, and to be globally connected.
Hmm.
So, really being intentional about those things and connecting in those ways, I think, are really
Yes.
important. And using tech in
Yes.
a positive way, as opposed to the hamster wheel and trying to take in all the information that we know is not really good for
Right.
us.
And with so many robots and the ability to automate things, even as a small
Mm-hmm.
business, and choosing how to use them so it doesn't saturate, so that your connection isn't automated. Because I don't know about you, but sometimes I I resist being connected with someone who's reaching out to me through automated messages. Even if it's a
Yeah.
well-written,
Right.
handcrafted message, if if it's just inundating on a robotic level, and I get it, I'm not speaking as practically as I could. It's a vibe. It's definitely a vibe.
Yeah.
But I think the vibes are important. I think we as human beings with our animal nervous systems can feel a check. Malcolm Gladwell
Yes.
talks about the gut and
Mm.
having this knowledge of things that we can't really put into words. And I think that's what we as
Yeah.
astrologers have kind of been pointing to for a long time.
You were telling me the other day about something called animal and mirror.
Animals and mirrors. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So AI is here. I have lots of friends using it in lots of different ways, some more than others. I have used it. I've tried to keep my use to a minimum. One of the things I've noticed occasionally, and I'm not going to say names or anything, but occasionally with my friends who use it a lot, when I interact with them, I get this, sorry everybody, it's a vibe. This kickback, sort of like, wait a minute, why aren't we connecting the way we usually do? And I was pondering it on a walk recently, and I saw a bird flapping around a car. It would land on the rear view mirror, it would land down on the road. And what I realized it was doing, it was talking to or interacting with its
Itself.
reflection. And what suddenly occurred to me in that moment was, oh, we've created AI and we're able to even program the large language models to reflect back to us the interaction we want to have and the kind of tone. And my hypothesis, because I haven't been able to do any research on this, but
Right.
my hypothesis is when you speak so often into what is effectively a virtual mirror
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't show you your own face, but it's giving you your own language back, it changes how you socialize. That's the
Yeah.
hypothesis anyway. And I think that there's lots of other arguments out there, pro and con AI.
Mm-hmm.
But I think one of the things we need to consider is how it impacts the way we connect with other people and how often we should connect with AI and then also foster connection with others. Because I really do
Yeah.
see some interesting interactions that
Mm-hmm.
I can't quite put my finger on what it is about it.
Yeah.
That's what I've got so far. I'm curious what the listeners have seen.
Yeah.
I'm not about ranting and raging about AI,
Yeah.
but I'm curious about what others have seen in their interactions.
Yeah, I think it's something to definitely explore and be aware of. I'm thinking of a couple of things. The first one is I know there are a lot of people who, use AI. There's a split there because people who are using a lot of it and people who are like, I hate it. I don't like it for environmental reasons. I don't like it for,
Yes. Yes.
these reasons, privacy reasons, all of these different reasons, which
So
are
many good
valid.
reasons. Yeah,
But it's
absolutely.
here, it's happening. So again, how are we adapting? And on the human level, because it's built in a way that it does mirror, it's like, oh yeah, great idea. Like, give it to me straight. Like, I need
Right.
this. Like, you have to really be the leader and be honest about it because it will mirror and it's like when I was an actor and doing like improv, you had to do this yes
Yes.
and, right?
Yeah.
So you always had to agree, yes, that's it, great idea, like, and you would add to it. So
Hmm.
I think that that's maybe some of the connection with other people when you're having a conversation and they're expecting that. And if they don't
Hmm.
get that, it's like, wait, there's a disconnect because they're not being mirrored in the language with another the way that they are. And if they use it a lot, and you can have conversations with people who are like, oh, yeah, um, They talk about their conversations with chat like they are a friend, like they
Yes.
are a
Yes.
person that they are interacting with, a relationship. And there are people who
Hmm.
like to have created relationships with it. In a way, it starts to feel like a relationship when you're dialoguing,
Yes.
and you're like, okay, but
Yes.
who's in control of this relationship? And I need to be consciously aware of asking for honesty, asking the questions or framing a question in a way that can get a response that helps me and still empowers me, as opposed to like, oh yeah, I'm doing what chat told me to do.
Yes.
As if that is
Yes.
a person. So it is a vibe, and there is, I think, a split, very Gemini,
Yeah.
between people who are like, get on board, do this, use this. It's a great tool. And there's a lot of business owners and companies who are like, you need to learn how to do this and be proficient in your job, or you will lose your job. So there's
Right.
a pressure there, I think, for people who may not want to do it but have to. And then the other side is anti, like completely. It's rotting brains. It's taking us out of our own, cognitive power and all of that. So I think there is valid. It's both and, in my opinion, it is both
Hmm. Hmm.
and the middle way. I've been talking a lot about this middle way, and I feel like the overarching theme of Gemini is the two pillars, and they say the twins, the two
Mm.
personalities, all those things.
Yes.
We have to find a middle way. There has to be a balance. And I do think that connection with actual human beings and an intentional, more often connection with real human beings is where we can find more balance. And having a conversation with different opinions about it and how people use it, but an actual honest debate or conversation with another human.
One
Right.
of the things I love about the air sign glyphs
Mm-hmm.
is all of them have space in between two portions.
Yeah.
It's
Aquarius,
that
same.
it's that air, and they also, because of that, have a dual nature. There's
Yes.
two bars in Libra, two waves in Aquarius, two
Mm-hmm.
pillars in Gemini. And I feel like what you're saying around needing balance, I mean, immediately I heard Libra, but
Yeah.
also knowing that the trines in between those air signs are really important, and who better to bring us into balance than air.
Yeah. And fire is our sextiles, right? That's a complementary element. So there is this excitement and fire energy that is good, is
Mhm.
propelling, and Uranus is about change. So we are having to adapt to radical fast changes that our
Yes.
systems and mindsets are not well prepared for and
Yeah.
ready for. So it's like, okay, what can we do? What can we do? So Mercury will go retrograde June 29th through July 23rd. So I think that when Mercury's retrograde is a great time for, reviewing these kinds of things. And
Absolutely.
Cancer is also another dualistic sign,
That is.
right?
Yes, it is.
And
Yeah.
it's time to like, okay, let's really think about and assess, number one, like, what do I actually feel connected to? Who do I feel connected to? What newsletters or people I'm following or connections do I really want to cultivate that are working and are not
Yes.
working? And I'm feeling like this could be a great time to renovate the inbox, renovate, your storage, clear your storage out. You know what I mean? So, what are
Mhm.
your thoughts about and reflections about that upcoming Mercury retrograde and what we can do? And what are some of the tips? Because you had some really good ideas about what we can do, like tangibly,
Mm. Yeah.
um, to create that space. So, what have you come up
I've
with?
personally, I've been taking some time when I would typically just veg.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've been disciplining myself. You could also gamify it by saying challenging myself to see how many emails I can delete. And I've also been using the filters, the
Oh,
rules, some specifically in Gmail, but I know other email programs have rules you can set up to automatically delete for you, to stick things in folders, to keep them in an archive. There's so many choices. This is not I don't have the scope to tell you how to do that, but most of the email systems will easily give you the help you need to figure out how to use them. Um, to make the automated tools we have work for us and
Yeah.
decrease the overwhelm. The other thing is, as far as that number going down, I'm challenging myself to see how many emails I can delete. And one of the wonderful discoveries I made was I could filter my whole email inbox by unread. It automatically tells me how many there are unread, and it's in the double-digit thousands. Um, I had a 25,000 unread emails in my main inbox
Hmm.
at the beginning of the year, and I really wanted to get it down. I filtered it by unreads, and then I had it read backwards. So it went all the way back to 2015 when
Oh,
I
wow.
had opened this email address originally. And I realized there were thousands and thousands of unread emails way back there. And so I could easily just select them all and delete, select them all and
Hmm.
delete. I'm down to 14,000. And that feels really, really good. I've gotten rid of 10,000 unread emails that were not necessary. And I will admit, I have to scan. There's some things that are
Hmm.
in there that I realized later were important or things I wanted to save. But it feels like what I referenced before, very energetically cleansing of that virtual cluttered space
Oh,
that's
yeah.
between me and above.
Yeah, the energetic connection is real, and to feel full. And I know people who actually, once they get to full capacity, they will just start a new email address, right? And you can
Yes.
have different email addresses for different things. I know a lot of people
Mhm.
do
I
that,
have
but
done
then you
that.
are
Mhm.
also expanding and having more to navigate and manage,
Yes.
right? So, making what's important, having those folders and having things go in there for
Yes.
things that are really important, or people you really want to connect with, and then looking for those things in spam that you may be losing that you want to stay connected to, and making sure they're going to the right place. And then you can just delete all that spam, delete all those promo ads, and go. Another one is going into your apps and turning off your notifications for those
Mm,
apps. Those apps sometimes send you email notifications when something's happening on the social, right? And you're like,
yes.
how do I
Yeah.
turn that off? Why am
I
I
don't
getting all these
need this.
reminders?
Yeah,
I
I don't
don't
need it to come
need
to my
that.
email. Yeah.
It's just clogging up the space. So that was a good one too, to go and turn off notifications that send you emails. And then you just note, oh, if I want to check in to see, you make a schedule to check in on those things, on those apps, or,
Yep.
Substack, or whatever it is that are important to you.
Yes.
And maybe
Yes.
even write down and have yourself a written list of the things that you want to check in on periodically, to make sure
Yes.
you're not missing something that's important to you.
And it reverses the energy. It means I've set aside time for this particular activity that I want, and I'm
Hmm.
putting it on the calendar. And then I
Yeah.
can turn off all the notifications, and then that time is already set aside. It's kind of, it feels a little bit martial artsy with the energy and
It
changing
is.
it
It's
into
discerning.
making those notifications and all of the automated opportunities that I have work for me instead of being overwhelmed by them. I know
Yeah.
that I read an article recently about this generation of young people coming up into the workforce. A lot of them just keep their phones and do not disturb and don't check them and don't
Yep.
answer things at all. And I kind of get it. Like
I've
it's a
started doing
lot
that
to
myself,
manage.
honestly. I
Hmm.
have. It's on
Yeah.
silent most of the day, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. And the people who I want to be able to get through for emergencies, I've got it coded that way. But again, it's a lot of expertise on how to manage every single piece of it. Every new thing that's added has its own unique signature and ways of doing things. And sometimes
Yeah.
you can get lost in the sauce of overwhelm of I one more app that I need
Yeah.
to have for this thing, and then now I have to figure out how to turn off notification,
Yeah.
wrangle them.
And one more
Herding
app that you're
cats.
like doom scrolling on, right? Because you're like, oh, they're going to doom scroll and watch these videos, and then I'm going to go down Substack and I'm going to read these different articles, and before you
Mhm.
know it, time has been sucked away, and you're like, where did my time go? Where did my day
Yes.
go? You
Yes.
know. So I think those are really good. I also think that with the speed of air and Uranus here, I'm wondering if we will all. Here's another hypothesis, that we all, as humans, will become more adept and better at scanning. Like being able
Oh,
to like read faster and like be able to like read or scan, you know what I mean, for like survival adaptation. Like, okay, I'm gonna whoop, and I can just do it. I mean, some people think eventually we're gonna be able to just sort of know stuff,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's
And then the
very too much,
implications
but
for comprehension are there as well. Like how much are
yes,
you going to comprehend even though you're scanning? Yeah.
exactly. And this is a whole other thing about the amount of, you know, what digital has done to cognitive development,
Yes.
you know, the opposite side of that. And so we're adapting to be able to navigate all of this, but at the same time, what skills are we losing? So it's again
Mm.
like, where can we really help even our kids if we're bringing this into the, you
Yes.
know, touching on the element of astrology and education and the education of our children and our raising our
Mhm.
children's in a digital age. I mean, it's a whole nother thing. And how can we help our kids empower them to have digital boundaries, healthy boundaries, and even more important, getting involved in social clubs and outlets and things, team sports that keep them
Yes.
busy enough and engaging with humans, each other, friends, talking, having conversations. How many teens have you
Yes.
seen sitting around and they're all on their phones? And you're like, talk
Hmm.
to each other. That's why I love when there is an activity they're all doing together, like a sport. They can't be
Yes.
on the phones. They have to work together. They have team sport, right? That's
Yep. And if they're not physical, for viewers who may be interested, one of our next upcoming podcasts will be about games.
yes.
So
Ooh, I'm
talk about
so
another
excited.
social container for connecting.
Yes, that's next. Yes.
Yes.
So, what other thoughts do you have or tips do you have for people around the Mercury retrograde? Things that you think would be really good
Whoa.
ways of spending that time this summer,
Hmm.
um, besides that next episode on games, but
Right, right. Yes. Um, wow, that's a great question. I always love Mercury retrograde for review, for going internal, for taking stock, especially
Mhm.
since it's coming at the beginning of the summer, end of the school year. I like it for reviewing the school year.
Mhm.
Um, not that I'm in school anymore. I have kids in school, but it's a nice, well-defined chunk of time. What has
Yeah.
changed since then? Um, yeah, that's what I like to do. How about
Yeah.
you?
Well, I think in Mercury retrograde always, I it can sometimes be a great time to get caught up, right, on that things that you haven't had time to do. And if we have
Yeah.
this speed through Mercury and Gemini where there's like so much stuff and it's too much, chances are brakes get put on, and then the
Yeah.
work becomes like going back and reflecting on and looking back at what didn't get done. And also,
Hmm.
like, because it's in water, because it's Cancer, it's like, okay, what how can I be emotionally discerning about what I want to move forward with? What can I
Yeah.
clear out or cut away? Or what do I want to curate intentionally with my
Hmm.
communication, with my connection? It's a great time to like call a friend, call a family member, like get together and have a family gathering, right? So we can talk and
Yes.
catch up and
Yes.
reconnect on a human level, right? So I do think that, and that call is like, okay, then step away from tech, but also maybe taking a little bit of intentional time to sit with our tech and clear out and really like sit with the people that you follow, or the emails that come in constantly, or the what is really meaningful to you and what isn't, and what can we clear space for, and lovingly. I know when people unsubscribe, you know, there used to be this thing of like, oh my gosh, they don't want to be around anymore, they don't want to be, and they're like, no, I send you away with love. Like, it's great, it's totally fine if what I'm putting out is not resonating with you. You know, I'm good with that. I can respect that, because I also then don't feel bad about unsubscribing to something that isn't working or aligned with me right now,
Or that I'm complete with. It's
or that
it's
you're
done
complete
for
with.
me. Like I have completed everything. I've gotten everything I need
Yeah.
and release to someone else who will take that space and use what's needed. And now
Yes.
I have space for something else. Like
Yeah.
that's just
Let
a
go with
normal part
grace.
of life.
Yeah. And I think much. any business owner, I'm sure, or person would rather have a small cultivated community that is meaningful and
And
intentional and
loyal.
intimate and loyal than hundreds of thousands of followers. You know what I mean? Which you end up paying for to sit there and not open your email anyway.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's like less
Yes.
is more. Less is more.
Yes. That space where Mercury is retrograding, just in case, I know some of our listeners aren't super into astrology because we're working
Mhm.
on education as well and for parents, but that space is between 15 or 16 degrees Cancer to 25,
Oh,
26
yes.
degrees Cancer. So wherever that falls in your chart, that's the spot to look
Yep.
as far as what house it's in, where you might want to review. For me,
Mhm.
it's in my first house.
Same.
So I'll be reviewing identity, my physical situation, where
Yep.
things are going for my life, really, and what I'm about. And what's
Absolutely.
interesting is for anybody who wants a little extra, Jupiter retrograded over those exact same degrees from November through January.
Mhm.
So it's possible you'll be revisiting something you were thinking about during the winter.
Yeah. I think
So
we're already doing that, you and I, a little bit because we started our astrology and
right.
education talks, those thought starters back then.
That's
And
right.
then we took a break, we reviewed, we started the coalition, and now we're kind of
Mhm. Here we
reassessing and moving
are.
forward in this new way.
Nice.
And speaking of that, we did have this conversation the other day too, that we also are inviting people to be a part of the Astrology and Education Coalition. And we have a free resource, and we have invited them to get on our email list, which we are
Yes.
very conscious and aware of what that means in the
Yes.
context of this conversation. And we just want to invite people to do that with the preface that we are not looking to blow up your inbox. We
That's
simply
right.
want to make available free resources that we create and connect with a small, if that be it, intimate community of people who really feel passionate about this idea, this concept. And we're going to be creating a developmental workshop probably down
Mhm.
through the summer and into the new year before the school year starts. And we want to know who's interested in being a part of that. So it really is just so we know you're interested when we do have things that we're developing, which we know are going to be slowly evolving over time as we also take our time to foster human connection and
Yeah.
not be sucked into the whirlwind of all this air and Mercury and Uranus and Gemini energy. So
Yes.
we do invite you to do that, but please know we are very conscious and aware of what we're asking and also what we plan to do with that
Mhm.
information. It is safe with us. We are not going to be blowing you up with emails and adding to the very thing we are saying to rid
That's
people
right.
of.
That's right. If you really want the first resource, the Elemental Guide,
Yeah,
reach out to us. We'd love to send it to you. It's super helpful. I use it. I use it in my day-to-day with my kids all the time.
it's been really helpful. Yeah. So you can go to nurturingastrology.com/astrology and education. And also, we have an Instagram. You can put on Astro and Ed on Instagram and then turn off notifications and just check in when you want to.
That's right. That's right.
Right?
Catch
This
us
was
later.
so good, Melody. Do you have any final thoughts that you wanted to share? Or did we cover it? I think we probably more than did,
I
but
think we've covered a lot, but I just want to reiterate human connection matters now more than ever.
yes.
Um, my business is a listening business. I am here to listen to people who want to talk to a real person. And I feel like we were talking about AI and its responses. And one of the things I love about what I do is offering a container that may or may not be yes and. If you need somebody who listens that challenges or plays a different kind of role, um, that's what I offer. And that's what each person offers to each other, something different. Every one of us is unique, and that is the strength we have
Yes.
that's different than AI. That's why our connection is important.
So true. And yes, definitely. I think that can be a real innovative business for you for the
Mhm.
future because I think it will be well received and needed. And it speaks to another episode I'll be dropping that I just had a conversation around this idea of connection too. And the connection also being someone outside your closest relationships, outside your four walls you live in, maybe not your spouse or, a parent or aunt or uncle or something, but somebody outside that, a friend, a colleague, a mentor,
Yes.
a teacher, somebody outside that can really give you a different perspective, or someone like in your case, a perspective and someone who doesn't know them, right? And a real ability to be objective. Because that, if they were coming to someone, you had a client come to you to listen and you didn't really know them or they didn't know you, you have a very objective and unique position to be able to serve them, because everyone else has an opinion or a thought if they care based on the relationship, right?
Right.
So I think that's important too, and that's a great one. So where can they find you? You have a site?
Yes, melodycarol.com. And you can reach out to me at melodycarol24@gmail.com.
Awesome. Email.
Yes, email if you want. If you want. I respond personally to emails.
Awesome. Yeah, same to me. Okay, great. Well, this was awesome. And definitely let us know your thoughts in the comments. We really, really think this is maybe the beginning of a larger conversation, but we hope that we've at least given you a few resources and ideas and thoughts, and maybe the intention to stop and slow down and be mindful of your tech, how much you take in, and take care of yourself, and choose wisely when engaging with tech and also each other, and seeing the benefits of that. I always appreciate you. Thank you, Melody.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for listening, and I hope you gained some great astrology insight and inspiration from today's show. I'd love to hear, so drop me a comment or share in a review. Check out the show notes for all the details and links about today's episode, how you can connect with me on social or work with me directly. And don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. Take care and keep nurturing the nature, friends. I'll see you on the next episode.